All right, welcome back everyone to our For Bartow video series. This is a series that is brought to you by the Cartersville-Bartow County Chamber of Commerce, and we are excited to feature many of our business members and talk about resources and tips that will help our businesses through this period of time. So today we have the pleasure of being joined by Frankie Johnson, who is the owner president of Styles Auto Care. Welcome, Frankie, and thanks for
Thank
being
you.
with us.
Very good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you getting some small businesses on here and look forward to hear from other small businesses out there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is really a pleasure. Early on, we were providing tips from various different resources, but this is going to be exciting to talk to you as a small business owner right here in the community. So this is going to be a fun one, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, we're positivity, no negativity, no doom and gloom. I'm tired of the news. I don't want to hear bashing the left or bashing the right. It's time to pull some things together and celebrate what some of these small businesses in our communities do.
I love it. I love it. Yes, we are all kind of in that mode, ready to get going and to continue to celebrate all the great things that everyone is doing. And let me start by saying congratulations on being our 2019 Small Business of the Year. So once
It.
again, we're super proud of Styles. You guys have done some fantastic things. And I think that's why it's extra fun to talk to you because, we all need to learn from each other and you all are obviously doing something right. So let's dive into a couple of our questions here that we want to share with other businesses. And let's start with, resources that are available. So you and I have chatted some throughout this process, and I know you've been keeping a watch on various things that are available to small businesses. Frankie, what sources specifically have you seen that have been extra helpful for you and your team to watch?
Well, Cindy, and although positivity is what we're about, it's difficult, and this has been a challenging time that none of us have ever faced before. And we're just all bouncing ideas off of each other. You and I went back and forth, text, emails, phone calls, other business friends of mine. Uh, my philosophy in the beginning of this mess, I didn't know what was going on. Nobody really did. And I just tried to be the first to reach out to whoever I could and listen to whatever I could and gather as much information to try and protect my business and my employees. And, we are considered essential. However, just because you're considered essential does not mean that you're busting out down the doors. We're sometimes 45% off, sometimes 70% off. So we've struggled just like everybody else, and I feel we're blessed, and we're in better condition than a lot of businesses are. Some businesses are booming. Our friends up here at Ace Hardware, they're knocking it out of the park. Good for them. I'm happy for them. Some landscapers and other contractors, home contractors, are doing really well, and that's great. I would love to see you spotlight some of those folks. But for us, this is all a new thing, and to be honest with you, Cindy, when we first started bouncing ideas off of one another, the chamber, our local chamber, you and your staff, and some of the programs that y'all have, such as this and others, was a tremendous asset for me. And you have been a tremendous asset for my business, just bouncing ideas off of each other. You ran a cast. What are these called? Are these podcasts, video casts? What are you calling these again?
Well, you just call it our video
Video.
series. So,
We did
yeah.
a video series with Richard Montanaro from the SBDC. When I saw that, I'm like, I got to get in touch with this guy. And I had met Richard, but we didn't have a relationship. And I've done some stuff with the Small Business Development Center in the past, but it had been a while since I had talked to him. So the Small Business Development Center, Richard, my lender, my SBA lender, who I don't have an SBA conventional loan of any type, never have. A lot of red tape with that, and I've just chose not to go that route now. However, my major lender that I use to facilitate the real estate here at Styles Auto Care is First Bank. They're branched in Dalton. They have a branch in Calhoun, and First Bank, Mr. Roy and Michael Wilson. Just a second. I'm sorry. Those are awesome folks,
Yes.
and they really have helped me a lot. And I can't go without saying kudos to Saunders Jones and Andy Harris over at Coosa Valley. I haven't really talked to those guys, but I've got business friends that are getting their funding through Coosa Valley, and those guys are fantastic too. But First Bank of Dalton and Calhoun have really stepped up to the plate. And finally, Cindy, I don't think you and I have talked about this, but we have gotten funded for the Paycheck Protection Program.
Okay.
Which is phenomenal. You could probably hear the cheers a few days ago from over here out in the shop, all the way at the chamber, because we were so excited that we got that.
That's awesome.
So, not real sure how all this is going to work out, but for me personally, talking to Mike Elder over at New Dimensions and talking to my business friends, Chamber was first, my lender was second. Well, SBDC Richard was probably second, and then my lender, and nobody really knew what was going on. This was about 2 weeks ago,
That's right.
We were all in the dark, but for me personally, reaching out to those outlets and bouncing ideas is really what got us funded as quickly as we did.
Well, and what I hear you saying that is so important, I know it's a message that all of us are reiterating, but it is about that collaboration and support of each other. Anytime there's situations like this, you don't get through it alone. We all lean on each other, and it's fantastic that you have connections in place, and we all do. We just have to look around and see who we can lean on. And Frankie, you've mentioned a couple of the resources that you've taken advantage of already, but I did want to kind of ask that question is, what have you already done? What are some of those things that you have found to be very helpful for your business specifically?
Well, like I said, obviously the Paycheck Protection Program is huge. That allows me to pay my employees for 8 weeks. And without that, we were all talking about that and hearing that. Didn't know for sure if it was going to be put into place and how it was going to work. Honestly, about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I probably started sending folks home on furlough. So because we were talking about and it looked like it was going to happen, I didn't do that. I held on to everybody just for a couple more weeks when I really, against the better judgment of Dad probably. But I held on to them and we were able to get the PPP funding put in place. So very, very happy for that, obviously. Once again, if it hadn't been for the chamber and our local chamber in particular, and the SBDC, Richard, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish that, and of course my lender as well. Now, above and beyond that, even before that, Cindy, I applied for the EIDL loan and grant, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan and the grant for $10,000 that was supposed to be a 3-day turnaround, right? That's what they were saying. Obviously, it's not. Now, I have heard of one other business that has landed the grant. Now, they changed the rulings on it. Now it's $1,000 per employee, up to $10,000 max. I know of only one business that has hit that. I have learned of several businesses that are hitting the PPP now. So if you have not applied for the PPP or the EIDL, you need to do that. You're already behind the ball. There's so many other folks ahead of you, but you still need to do it. It's past time, but go ahead and do it. So I haven't heard anything from the EIDL, the loan or the grant. They're kind of, in the same package. And that's a little bit disappointing because I certainly could use the grant. We roughly have 24, 25. I think we're down to 24. Of course, Mac retired, so that knocked me down one employee. Love Mac, by the way.
Love him.
Mac, brother, he's probably watching. Anyway,
that's great.
So we were able to take advantage of the PPP. Still waiting on the EIDL loan and grant. I called the SBA yesterday, and somebody actually answered the phone. She was very nice. I've emailed about 5 times and got nothing. But I called, rang about 3 times. The young lady answered the phone and said, "Sir, I'm sorry. There's no way I can check your application number. Be waiting for a email, which will direct you to our portal, and you can immediately get your grant money." So
great. Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at there.
That's fantastic. Well, again, we've said it many times, but the Small Business Development Center, which is based in Rome but serves our entire region, great resource to just talk through options. They're just sort of a catch-all. They've been designated to really help businesses kind of work through each of the options. And yeah, we've had some great success stories with some of the funding. We hope that there will be additional funding that will be available to our small businesses as well. So, and I will say too, we've referenced it, but these videos and what you've been following, I know Frankie is our For Bartow page on our Cartersville-Chamber.com website. And I will tell you that every day, or at least every week, there are some new options. We just sent out some funding from the U.S. Chamber. So this is still evolving. There are still new avenues that are coming through for options for different types of businesses. So I want to encourage everybody to check that out, to stay abreast of that, be looking at it. We have a top portion that says trending now. So any of the latest information just kind of stays pinned at the top, makes it easy. But if you ever need to reference back something else, you can find it further down on the page. So that's great, though. Great tips and great advice and great encouragement, for other businesses as well who may be going through that. So is there anything? Yeah, go ahead, Frankie.
You mentioned too with the U.S. Chamber. I don't think I've mentioned that, but there's been some really good material that you have forwarded, and then I've taken advantage of that and gone to some other places. I did see this morning the grant program that they're trying to start up. Unfortunately, we don't qualify because it's 20. I think it was 3 to 20 employees. Does that sound
correct? That's right.
A great thing. So if you're out there, it's $5,000. I think is what the grant amount was. So if you're out there and you have from 3 to 20 employees, go for it. I can't. Yeah. We have too many employees, but you should. And Cindy, one other question that I have for you: how many businesses have you heard of off the top of your head that have gotten either PPP funding or EIDL grant funding? Do you have an idea?
I don't have an idea of a set number, but I've had these conversations individually with various businesses and even talking with our state senator, in fact, just this morning. And we feel like there is a vast number of Bartow-based businesses, particularly for the PPP. Right. That is one, of course, that that's the one I've heard more so that people have had success. And of course, I know from hearing from the lenders side, they have been slammed from the day that opened.
Poor guys, man, they've been working hard, Cindy. Those guys over at Coos Valley and at First Bank and all these other banks, kudos to them too.
Yes. That's absolutely right. A special thank you to all of our lenders. I know they're all working hard to stay on top of regulations and to know how to process the loans, and everything happens quickly for them as well. So they are certainly in this with us and working hard on behalf of our businesses. So, Frankie, are there any other tips as we begin to wrap up? Any other tips that you want to offer or share with your fellow small businesses here in Bartow County?
Yeah, I think the best thing for me is having other business contacts that I can reach out and talk to, and just kind of preparing for this video. I didn't do enough of that, honestly. I did reach out to Mike down at New Dimensions and Andy Bowen, a friend of mine, and I'm so sad that Andy's moving to Blue Ridge, but Andy and I went to college together. I've known him for over 30 years. He's still going to live here, so we'll still get his tax money. But
there we go. We'll take that.
It's a good business decision for him. So kudos to Cahutta Fishing Company. We hate to see you go, but one thing that I heard and actually made sure I was correct on this, I called Jason at the Southern Cove. He's going to be renting Andy's building next week and moving. How great is that? We've got a new business that's expanding during all this mess, and he's moving downtown. I think it's a great fit. They seem to be great people, and the business is a very cool business. I think it's a perfect fit for downtown. But talking to other businesses is something that I have not done quite enough of. It's a little bit uncomfortable, when you call somebody and ask them about their finances and PPP and, hey, how are you doing? But at the end of the day, it feels good when you do that. So thankful to Mike Elder and Andy and others, a few others. But, I highly encourage talking to other businesses. One thing that I'm hearing and that I've always believed in is these big banks are really having trouble getting things funded. They're overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. I think our small community banks are the best thing ever, and that's what we need to. If you're searching for, hey, where do I go to apply? Find you an SBA lender that's in our area that's small. And I've mentioned First Bank; those guys are great. I've mentioned Coosa Valley; those guys are great. There's a lot of other banks that are still small, community oriented. There's not very many small community banks left. So I think that's a tremendous asset to a small business right now, is having that relationship with a smaller lender and taking advantage of it. They're getting things done quicker.
Yes.
You're not just a number with those guys. They know you, they know your family, and they care about us.
Yes.
So
Yes.
other than that, keep praying, and love your employees and love your community, and thank God every day for what we got.
Yeah, absolutely. And Frankie, you mentioned, I'm gonna interject here. You mentioned Southern Cove and moving into the Cohutta building, which is fantastic. I'll just go ahead and give a plug. I realized yesterday that Jason, with Southern Cove, they're also selling a T-shirt that's Georgia Strong, and it is a cool design of a T-shirt. You can find them on social media. You can reach out to them to see that design. But they're taking pre-orders, and I went ahead and pre-ordered several because I think it's a cool thing. The best part of it is not only do you get a shirt, but all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds will go to help small businesses in our community. So the more we give to that, we get a shirt, and then we're giving money back to the community. So that's a cool thing. So check them out, Southern Cove, on social media is probably the best way to see that. So
Yeah,
Frankie, what you got for us as we wrap up?
kudos to everybody out there. And Cindy, before we wrap up, I do have a few people that would like to say hello real quick, if that's okay.
That's perfect.
Be all right? Okay. And thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for everything that y'all do. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. We miss you.
We love y'all, Cindy, and thank you for everything.
Okay, thanks, Frankie.
All
Take
right.
care.
Have a good day. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.